It's summer in Maine. I am jumping in before the beginning of this video to let you know that, oh my God, I'm so hot. Alert! To let you know that I loved the block that I made in this video so much that I went ahead and made 3 more. I used a lot of the same prints, but I added other prints and colors to them, and those are on eBay right now at the time that you're watching this. I'll put the end date, so if you're watching in the future, 2 years from now, don't say, where's that auction? Because it's over. I'm a Mainer today, I'm Mainer. All right, so 4 blocks. This is so not 4. 4 blocks, and you can put them together to make a big tote bag, or you can put them in one of your quilt projects, or you could back each one of them and make 4 different but yet the same cohesive little decorative pillows. You do whatever you want. Go check out the link down below, and now the video. Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am back with another way to use our fabric scraps. I love using scraps for quilts and other projects. I am going to show you how to take leftover strips. Well, this one is pretty clean. Usually when we cut fabric, you know, we end up with stuff at the end. Sometimes wide pieces, sometimes narrow pieces, sometimes very wide pieces that can be cut into strips. I'm going to show you how we can put these together to make some nice strip sets that we can cut into blocks for quilts. I don't like to work with long scrappy strips like this, so I'm going to cut these into 4 pieces. And then it gives me more of a variety as to how I want to set up that particular strip set. And here's the deal. Okay, so let's take this one for example. This is just the end of whatever I was cutting. Now the selvages are not matching. So to get the most out of the strip, let's match that and go all the way down. Now we're going to cut on the fold. Scissors. Right there. Now I'm just going to cut those selvages off, like that. Now I'm just going to put those ends together, cut on the fold. So now I have 4 pieces like this. Now these are pretty good. They're a little thready. I don't care about that. So I'm just going to put these aside. I don't need any extra trimming on these. Now let's look at something like this. I do like some wide pieces, maybe some even very wide like this, but I also like narrow. This gets really narrow, so I don't know if I really want to do all that narrow stuff, but I'm aiming for maybe a 10-inch block. So I look at this, I'm going to cut off the selvage, and let's go 11. See, I can use all parts of this. Even though that's narrow, I'm going to like some very narrow in there. Now I'm going to just look at the other side, cut off that selvage, and also go to 11, like that. So that's good. So I have 2 of that color, that print. This goes into my crumb quilting box because it can still be used. What else do we have that I can show you? Now, if something is cut really nice, like I cut a lot of 2-inch strips, and sometimes at the end, you know, I'm just left with something that's not quite 2 inches. Well, let's cut the selvages off. If they weren't lined up, I would have lined them up first. And we can, you know, cut on the fold. And I'm going to just fold that, and I'm just a little over 10, maybe 10 and a half. That's good. Or if you want to save time and you're not trying to get a block that's about 10 inches, you can just do this. Like here's a strip, it's folded, you know, and then folded. When I sell these strips, this is how I sell them. I take the pictures of them like this. And I have an auction right now. Is it for 30 strips? I do believe. the day that I'm uploading this, I think that auction is good for another 2 or 3 days. But if you're watching in the future, still go check, because I may have another one. I love selling these, but I want to give you guys an idea of how to use them. So let's say you're going for a 9-inch block. Well, you can just lay this down, and you could lay a couple of others down, and then you could just trim off this fold and the selvages over here on the 0 line. And if you want a 9-inch block, if you can cut 10, that's great. You could just take your ruler. Again, you could put a bunch like this. As long as both ends are covering the lines, you could do another one. I'm just not going to do it because I'm aiming for 10-inch blocks. Okay, so you could put a bunch together like that. Then you could just cut at the 0 line, and then cut at the 10, and then your blocks can be, you can put your strips together, make your strip set, and then you can trim to 9 inches or 9.5 or whatever size you want. That's just a really easy way to do it. So let's look for something that's already kind of wonky. All right, like look at this. This is very wonky. It starts out kind of wide, but look, it goes all the way down to this. Now, when I sell these, I don't include this. I try to make sure you get at least maybe about 1 inch, but you know, it can happen that they can slip in there. So I'm just going to cut this off, let's say about here. I have just this one selvage. Okay, I'm going to cut this one at like 10.5. And you know, it's still wonky. It's wider on one end than the other. So I like that. And 10.5-ish. And then this isn't going to be quite. Nope. So that will go into the crumb box. Now let's say you don't have any scraps like this and you'd like to create some. You could take yardage. I'm not going to actually do this, but I'll show you. You could take whatever yardage you have. The selvages are up there. You could fold it over. I have a little slight wrinkle here. But then what you could do is, instead of cutting straight across, especially if you want wonky, you can cut wonky. A nice triangle. Let's do it. Like that. See, it's like a triangle, much wider up here. Now it can be laid down. We can cut the selvage and the fold off. And then I'm just going to cut the fold like that. So now I created 4 strips, nice and wonky, already wonky. And it happens that I have this. Is that the same print? I think it is, different color. Okay, now we're just going to start putting them together. Once you have a whole bunch of strips cut, and you don't have to cut them this short if you don't want to. You could do, you know, half the width. I find that the whole full width, that's just, it doesn't work good because it can be really uneven. I like this size the best. So let's put one like this. And then the next one's going to go here, but I'm keeping the wonkiness going. Now this one has a little bit of selvage still showing, but that's okay. That'll get trimmed off. So I'm just going to put this here, and I'm going to sew right there. And we have this, the beginning of a strip set. So let's make another one. Now this one isn't wonky. This one isn't either. But I would like this narrow piece on here. So if you want, you can flip it, but then just turn this, pull it down so it's not even, and then just follow the line of the purple, and it will be wonky. Or if you're not comfortable with that, you can take this and, you know, go from the tip, but then go in a little bit. So you're going to cut like a triangle, a long triangle off that. And you're going to purposely make this wonky. Now you can take your purple and then just line up the edges. And sew. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass these 2 through, and then I'll just turn around and pass 2 more through. I'm trying to have a variety here. and then I'll pass 2 more through, and some I might not make wonky, some I might make wonky. And let me get a few of those done, and then we'll put those together. I have some strips of 2, let's call them 2Bs. I like that, 2Bs. I think I'm going to aim for maybe a 9-inch block. It really will give me some wiggle room to trim. I don't want to be worried about, oh, this one didn't quite make it, so I can trim it to 10. So let's do 9-inch blocks. Or 9-inch rectangles. It could be, 9 this way by, you could do a whole entire row or column of the strip sets. Do whatever you want. So now I'm just going to start sewing these together. And like, for instance, this one I made it wonky. I turned the fabric a little bit so it wasn't edge to edge. You can trim that excess off if you want. You don't have to. You don't have to do that. You really don't. And I'm just, going to slap these together now. So I can put these 2 through, and then these 2 through. And I don't have another one, but I'll just wait with this one. I don't know how, that's probably going to give me more than 9 inches. So let me at least do these right here. This is something you can do even when you don't have a plan at all for the pieces. You can just put your strips together as you collect them. You can start by doing a bunch of 2Bs. Then you can do a bunch of 4Bs. You could leave it at that because maybe you would like some nice little squares, some nice little blocks with strip sets. So you can just keep them until you need them. And if you need something bigger, then you put 2 4Bs together to make an 8Bs. Okay, we got to stop with that. Now let's see, if I put all these together, I'll be able to get a 9-inch block even after the seam allowances. So I'm still doing the same old. I'm trying to be a little bit wonky, and I'm having a hard time to be wonky. I think if you really want to be wonky, it's best to make your strips triangular-ish. I mean, obviously not a triangle because you're not cutting to an actual point, but you know what I mean. You want them wider on one end and narrower on the other end. But let me slap these together. I'm not quite past the 9-inch line. If I want to trim to 9, I need to get past the 9. So I'm going to add this here, and that will get me over. Now I'm ready to trim. If you don't have a project planned, I would not trim at this point. Like I said, I would probably stop at a strip set of 4. I thought that was super cute. Or something like this. Then just put those aside. Don't trim them. Wait till you find a project. You might find a project that requires, 8-inch blocks. And even though that pattern might, just be that you just cut 8-inch blocks, you could cut your blocks out of your ready-made strip sets. And I think you're going to really like doing this. Come on, thread. Get out. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and trim at 9 inches. Oh my goodness, I just love this so much. I just really love it. More than I thought I would. No, I knew I would love it. I don't know. I just want to keep showing it to you. It's funny though. It makes it look almost like I cut it not square. It's just an optical illusion because of the wonkiness. So super cool. Now at this point, if you wanted to, I'm not going to do it, you could cut this way and turn one piece and put it back together, and that would be like super wonked. But I'm going to leave it like this. And I will end the video now also. Give it a try. Save some scraps or cut some wonky strips like this. Slap them together. I think you're going to really like it. You could sash these and make them stand out in a quilt. Super duper cool. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and I'll be back with more soon. Bye! I almost did a double-handed wave.